You didn't believe anything that I said. When they came, you were not prepared. Then it all fell right on your head. And now you're lying in your bed. You've got yourself in a rabbit hole. You're trapped 'cause you did not let go. You took that bait and now...
Hey guys, it's Kerry with Alice Eats the Apple, and I have David McCready here with me to talk about the virus. He has a unique, really interesting perspective, one that I would like to share. I've sort of backed off on trying, I don't know, I didn't know what to put out there. I don't want to put fear out there. I don't want to just put something out, just to put something out. But I know David has something really cool and maybe a different way to look at this. So, hey, David, how are you doing? You feeling okay?
Hello, hello, Kerry. It's a pleasure to see you today. Just for the viewers, if the sound and the video ever seems a little bit out of sync, that's just because of the transatlantic nature of our call in the midst of everyone using video conferencing because so many people aren't allowed out of their houses.
That's exactly
it. So if we try and speak slower, maybe our voices will catch up with the slow video. Or is it? I'm not sure. Anyway, something like that.
I think you're aiming that one at me. I will slow down. So, well, hi. Thank you for working so hard to get online. So, guys, we're here with Skype. We're here with Zoom, and we're trying to link everything up. So bear with us. And I think that this is really worth it. So here we go. So you were just telling me some interesting things about the virus. So let's just start right there. Let's just jump in.
Well, a virus in its own way is a very small living entity. But it's a really basic living entity. And if we just talk about what a virus is like for a few minutes, it'll help explain about what it's up to. If you take a normal living in the body, it's quite a large structure. And in our bodies, as we are at the moment, we have lots of living cells. And each living cell has its own little spirit form. And these little living cells would see you as their God. You are almost like their central creator. So there you are, lots of large living cells in your body. And they've each got their own life. Now, a virus is a very small thing by comparison. It's really tiny. It's like a small speck of fat that often likes to hitch a ride on a bit of water vapor, like a little bit of moisture in the air. And inside this small little ball of fat is a piece of DNA code, a very small strand. Now, by comparison, the DNA in your body is a long strand. Very long thing. I've not got enough space on the screen here to explain it, but it's really long. And the virus one is like this very short little piece of code. And when you catch a virus, what's happened is that virus in its tiny little fat ball has landed against a living cell in your body. So, for example, it's not going to be on your hand. However much you wash your hand's pretty invulnerable to viruses. They're not going to get through because your hand is covered in dead skin cells. That's the state of all the outside of your skin, dead cells. But maybe if you lick your hand like a cat washing herself, you can get that virus into your mouth, or maybe put your finger up your nose. That's another way of shoving it in there. And now you can get it into your body. And inside your throat and your nose, you've got lots of living cells that aren't covered in dead cells. So now the virus has a chance, and it can get into one of the living cells, and it takes that little strand of DNA and it puts it into the big strand of DNA that operates your body. So think of it now, it's spliced your DNA. It's got inside, it's made a little alteration into the chemical code that makes your cell work. And it gives that body cell a whole new set of instructions. And it says, stop doing whatever you're doing as a cell. Can you now turn over production to more viruses? So your healthy body living cell now turns into what they call a virus factory and starts spewing out lots of viruses into your bloodstream. Some of this leaks out into your lungs and you cough it out and you spray it on other people, and this is how it gets transmitted. Well, that's basically how you catch a virus. Are you with me so far on
Yes.
the strange little way in which it even operates to get inside you?
Yeah, that's fascinating.
So let's go on next about how the virus then is dealt with by your body, and this is what can kill you or not kill you. It turns out that the virus factory cells in your body, the invaded ones, the one who've gone over to the enemy, your body's immune system thinks they're bad news and it goes round killing them. And where you get a sore throat or a sore nose, it's not that the virus itself has made it sore, it's that your immune system is now attacking your body and wiping out all the cells that have turned into little virus factories. If it gets worse, you get the virus getting into your lungs. You get your lungs now shot full of little holes because you're losing lots of cells in your lungs. This in turn can allow bacteria into your lungs, and you start getting all kinds of secondary infections. Your lungs start to fill up with fluid, and when that happens, you literally drown. And that's why they often have to try and pump air into people with what they call respirators or ventilators to just keep you going. So you would suffocate if your lungs get too badly infected by all of this. So meanwhile, your immune system is trying to figure out what's going on and why some of its cells have become so damaged. And eventually it spots that tiny little virus floating around in the bloodstream, and it figures out what it looks like. And at that moment, what it does is to create antibodies, and your body creates a chemical lock that can seal up that virus and stop it doing any more damage. So that virus, instead of being able to get into your body cell, is now locked in a chemical prison and it can't go any further. And your body generates lots and lots of these antibodies, floods the bloodstream with them, and the virus infection is brought to a halt. And that is how your body defends itself, and that is the moment at which you get to live. So I hope in the last few minutes I've given people a reasonably good explanation of how a virus can kill you, and also how your immune system stops it getting any further and keeps you alive.
Okay. Wow. I mean, I want to go in so many different directions there, because I would think that there would be a lot of different things in your body at one time, not just this virus, but multiple viruses.
You are absolutely correct. Our bodies often have multiple viruses going around and stray bacteria, but most of the time they're not causing any problems. And the immune system has a bit of a live and let live attitude towards all of this. So if there are things in your body that aren't a problem, then the immune system doesn't attack it. And it lets it flow through. It just lets it wash around. And this brings us towards some of the spiritual side of how you can actually deal with viruses. If we are, in a sort of spiritual, energetic sense, well aligned, we get a very nicely flowing aura. Think of your aura as being absolutely white and perfectly running. But if you've got a virus floating around in your system that's there to cause trouble, it's like a little black speck, and it's like a black speck on a white sheet of paper. And if you've got a really clean white sheet of paper because you're well aligned, and a little black speck shows up, it's easy to spot, easy to identify, and then your immune system is really well positioned to go in there, identify that virus, and put that chemical lock on it so it can't do any more damage. So just to emphasize that, when you're in a really nicely chemically aligned state, so energetically aligned state, your body is able to spot any intruders that shouldn't be there, And if there are other bacteria and organisms floating around which don't cause trouble, it can figure out which ones those are as well. So it's got a really good system for figuring out what's what. But where we get into trouble is supposing we're in a bad mood, supposing we're upset at someone in this world, and we're putting out a lot of upset emotion. That means we're energetically out of line. It's like if the alignment's there, you're flying out of line or you're sort of swinging around. And when you're in that unaligned state, it's much harder for the body's immune system to spot what's causing trouble because it's really being shaken around by that experience.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
So, for example, if someone's doing a healing exercise, the healer will be helping the person being healed to be in an aligned state. And when they're getting into an aligned state, the immune system, the auto repair systems of the body, they know what they're up to. They can operate in a very easy way, and your body repairs itself. The immune system deals with any intruders. So this is why exercises to do with spiritual alignment and connection are the natural way to get healthy. And in fact, it's your only form of treatment at the moment because modern medicine has no cure for the common cold or flu virus.
So I kind of break that down also in like what I see is when the body has so many things coming at it at once, and when it's fractured, and let's say you're drinking a lot, you're arguing a lot, you're stressed, it's like there's so much noise there that when an intruder comes in, it takes a while because it's distracted dealing with everything else. Is that a different way to say that? Okay.
Yes.
Well,
You're exactly on. Go on.
And my other question is, if these are living organisms, then they have their own consciousness. So if they have their own consciousness, if you're not a vibrational match, does that help keep it away too?
Well, we're suggesting for a moment that these viruses are a bad thing. Now, if you're feeling rotten with flu and you feel like you're dying, obviously you'll think it's a bad thing. That's a very natural or mental reaction.
Yeah.
And I'm sure right now the Prime Minister, who at the time this recording was done, he was on lockdown, not in his prime ministerial residence, but in a hospital in England.
Wow.
And to make it even worse for him, in the old days when he just being prime minister, if he wanted medical care, he'd go to a private hospital. It's like a health insurance hospital.
Mm-hmm.
But now that he's the prime minister, he has to go to the public hospital that everyone else would have gone to. So it's as if he's had to go on a bit down market at the same time. So anyway, our prime minister is doing the regular thing, and no doubt one of his challenges is that he thinks he shouldn't be there right now. He's probably convinced he should never have got this virus, and maybe that's not the way it is. There's a subject we want to explore. Maybe we are meant to encounter this virus. So perhaps if we can explore that and look at where the virus might be useful, we can come to our own conclusions on whether or not it's actually a good thing.
I love that. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So that's it. If you say hello to this virus, it does have a spirit energy to it. As I found out recently, my lovely wife picked up on it because she's also quite psychically open. We're standing in our bedroom one night and she said, "The virus just spoke to me." It said hello. And then she said, the virus was going, "I'm coming to get you."
Taunting.
In a slightly scary and playful sort of way.
Okay.
So there it was. When I looked at this virus energy, it wasn't chatting to me so much. It seemed to be friendlier to her at that moment for whatever reason. Maybe it liked her more. You know, she's a nice woman. I'm just boring man character. So just chatting her up and ignoring me sometimes happens. But it looked like the sort of energy that you see floating around if someone, say, has a drug addiction or say, an alcohol addiction. That's where you get an energy in your system that acts in a very compelling way and makes you want to do something you wouldn't normally do. So a drug addict would experience wanting to take drugs, whereas a normal person would think that's ridiculous and leave it alone. So it had that kind of vibration to it, a strong ability to influence you. And where we are, we've bumped into this virus spirit many times. We're in a situation where you often pick up the symptoms of it and then it goes away. You pick up the symptoms of it and it goes away. And every time you get the symptoms of it, it comes with a mental message of get sick. You want to get sick. It's your turn to get sick. Oh, go on, get sick. Be sick. Which is kind of how spirits that affect drug addicts also operate, in that if you're a drug addict, you'll often get a message of have another dose of whatever it is, have another line of cocaine, it'll be okay, you can call it your last one. Mm-hmm. That kind of spirit energy will affect the way your mind works. So this virus spirit form is not only attacking the cells in your bodies, but it's working at a mental level where it influences the way you're thinking in order to actually make you succumb to it. It's sort of seducing you. I'm sure religious people would see it as like a sort of snake in the Adam and Eve orchard going along saying, go on, bite that apple, take a lump out of it, it'll be okay, go with it.
So do you think that you think there are people that want to have it then? I mean, you think watching the news and the fear and the like really focusing and fixating on it, do you think that draws it in?
It's like a big group energy, mm-hmm. And the stronger the group energy is, the more we're going to experience those symptoms. So as more and more people get afraid of the virus, the more likely you are to actually catch it. So it's getting you at two levels. It's affecting you with the splicing up the DNA in your body, and it's also affecting you from a mental point of view, and that makes you subconsciously actually get drawn towards it. So it's quite a clever little life form.
See, I thought that. I mean, at one point I completely turned off the news. I keep going down this path of this doesn't make sense to me. And I don't really want to go down the dark road of what else could be going on and man-made or blah, 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 blah. I mean, that there are all these different ideas and, out there, especially in the alternative news. So I decided, and Tiffany was the same way. I mean, we've decided it's a reset. I'm with my kids. I'm not driving around all day. We're focusing on the house. Like Charles and I are focusing on the house. We'd move back in. It's a time to get healthier. We cook a lot. I've been playing games with the kids. And I'm looking at this as a good thing. I mean, I don't want to make small anyone that has lost a family member or is sick. It's just, I'm trying to keep it out there and look at this as a benefit versus, for my family, not for the world.
Yeah, and for anyone clairvoyant watching the recording of this show, they would see Kerry beautifully making an energetic alignment as she's saying, you know what, it's not so bad. Actually, you can have some good things come out of this, and making a nice connection with her family and making a nice connection to her higher self. And you can see this energy flowing through and giving Kerry a brighter aura in the process. So that was a good example of taking something positive out of this whole virus situation, done live on air, or at least live on a recording, whatever way we want to describe it. But there you go.
So you really did see that?
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you for that. And I know, you and I worked together, about a month ago now, or 2 or 3 weeks ago. And it was interesting because you said, "Oh no, you'll be fine. I can see the older version of you right behind you. You're going to live." Okay. But I've held on to that. I've held on to that. I've held on to that. I mean, that was a wonderful gift that you gave me. Okay. Can I ask you this? Viruses come from where? Do you think there is, meaning, is there a planet with viruses? Is there a realm with viruses? I mean, where do they originate? Are we a virus on the earth? I mean, it is, viruses to me are so fascinating. Kind of speaking back to the consciousness.
I need a prop.
Okay.
Hold on a moment as I rummage beside me. A virus is similar to this. This is a screwdriver.
Uh-huh.
Screwdrivers are an excellent tool for making adjustments. So to give you a bit of background, while I'm talking about it this way, when you go traveling astrally out into other worlds, you get the impression that clearly the world we're experiencing right now is an engineered illusion. It's been built. And you can find other worlds where beings hang out, sometimes in non-physical ways, sometimes in physical ways. And for example, you will find advanced physical planets and other dimensions where the beings there don't really have any work to do because their society is very well provided for, and to hang out and do a bit of recreation, they often invent new worlds, rather like someone might be at home inventing a new computer game. So they make these things and worlds get invented. And one of the things you have to remember is when a world's being invented and created, you sometimes want to tinker into it. Sometimes you want to get out your screwdriver and make some adjustments inside of that world. In the case of us, here we are, living beings with our DNA. We evolve naturally over time anyway. Darwin managed to observe that quite well. But also at the same time, it can be useful to introduce a few changes to human form. And a virus is a brilliant way of modifying humans, that if you give humans a virus that doesn't kill them or give them a nasty cold, but just make some useful modifications. This has helped generate the humans we have today. We're a much more intelligent lot than many of the animals around us. We've got a lot more features, we've got a lot more capability, and by adjusting our DNA, it's a great way of nudging human development along. So most virus interactions we've had from that adjusting perspective have been very helpful, and it's produced the amazing beings we can occupy now, these amazing bodies that we can occupy. So they're a good thing. A virus, like sort of cold form, that's a kind of feral virus in some ways. It's just sort of knocking around, they keep modifying themselves, they keep mutating.
Right. Yeah.
But they do come back, and then every now and then you see a situation where it was almost felt like, why not send the humans a deliberate virus that might make them sick, but it could help them wake up a bit more. It could help something useful happen.
Right.
After all, weren't people talking about what would it be like if we took less aeroplane rides and drove less? Well, now we know.
Right. Well, and I found it awesome in one way when I talked to you, or I spoke with my best friend in Australia, and we're all going through the exact same thing, no matter where you are.
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible. So here's a question. I love that I get to ask you these things. So there is an author, Dean Koontz, and he writes sci-fi, a lot of time travel, a lot of, I don't know. Anyway, he wrote a book, and it was copywritten in 1981. And in it, they talk about the Wuhan virus. and it will attack the lungs. And I think it even goes as far as saying that it will be released in the year 2020. How did he know? I know. I was like, did he time travel? Is this just a really good guess? I mean, okay, do you have any insight into that?
Well, if you were writing a book like that, you'd have felt an inspiration come into you. You'd have felt an energy to write that book come in. And then you'd be writing away, or typing away anyway, probably. Wouldn't be handwriting it these days, you'd be typing away. And at some point, you'd have to say, what year are you going to put it in? And you'd look for the feeling of what felt right, what felt like the right number. And no doubt, if you say you got 2020, then there would have been a feeling of, you know what, 2020 feels about the right mark. Go for that.
A good round number.
Nice round number. Nothing much doing at the end of 2019, maybe it starts then, but really gets going 2020. So people get these sort of feelings, an energetic, like the alignment feel, and it would have just felt right. And that's how we steer ourselves through life, depending on what feels right for us. Mm-hmm. And when we get knocked out of that alignment and we've lost our sense of what's correct or incorrect, that's when we get ill and messed up and all. Well, a lot of exciting stuff happens, to be fair, and we are here to experience being knocked out of line and then having the game of, can we get back into alignment again?
But you never go back. You always go forward with all that you know and you've been through.
Yeah.
That's what I love.
That is a very good way of emphasizing where it's you learn how to make that connect in a new way going forward. Thank you for that.
Well, thank you, David. So what I hear you say is stay out of the fear, get quiet, use this time to really refocus, get an alignment is the biggest one. And then envision your body doing what it needs to do on multiple realms, right?
So here's a question.
Yeah.
Are you doing that because you have to, or because you enjoy doing it?
Well, honestly, the beginning of the sequestering was a little bit tough. I had all the distractions, and again, I mean, I may have 3 tutoring sessions for the kids, 5 baseball games, 5 practices, and I'm on the go all the time. Husband is on the go. We've been redoing our house. I mean, so many distractions, and it's so easy to put a pin in it and deal with that tomorrow. I'm just going to have a little bit of wine right now, then I'm going to go to bed, and it is a lot of distracting. And I have found I've been in a really quiet place. I haven't had anything to say. And I feel like there's this reset but these patterns, these old patterns have come up for me to be, I think to be kind of dealt with, hopefully for the last time. And so that's where I feel that I can either go further into a pity party, drinking more wine, more chocolate, more, all of those things, or I can use this time to figure out what I need to do to go to the next place. So a little bit of both.
I love your expression, being in a pity party. That's really good. It describes so much. It's where we just feel a bit blocked up in ourselves and we're happy to stay in that state.
Yeah.
And this virus we've bumped into actually encourages you to do that. It says, I'd like to be lovely. Just be a bit more miserable. Go for the misery. Go for the self-pity. It affects your mentality, and if you can see it doing it consciously, you've got a chance of snapping out of it. But if it's happening subconsciously, you get caught up in it. Mm-hmm. And what you're describing there is the intention to actually choose to be in a more aligned state.
Yeah. Well, there's no reason not to.
Yeah.
you know?
And you're making that choice to be in a happier, more aligned state because it's the better place to go. You're having a look at the various bits and pieces we accumulate in our personalities because we're not built as perfect characters. We're built as sort of assorted jumble of often contradicting elements, and then there's a game of how you're going to sort all that out and make a functional human vessel out of the whole thing. So yeah, there's lots of anomalies in there, and what you're doing is having a good look at it. Someone I was working with just very recently, he saw this in a different way. He said it was like you've got an old kettle that builds up lime scale in it. And for anyone who doesn't know what that means, if you live in what they call a hard water area, you get this lime deposit on the inside of your kettle and the water heating devices. And now and again, you put in a tablet to clean it all out. So it's like you're having a look at what's there and cleaning out things you don't really need anymore and can move on without. So when we're looking at it this way, this virus energy is playfully goading us to act stupidly in a way that we know we can do something smarter. It's acting as a reminder to get into that better state, to get your whole body moving forward to whatever the next stage is. And when we see it this way, how does your body feel when we talk about that?
Empowered.
Yes.
You know, you feel like it's for you, not to you. You're not the victim of it, which that next question is, you know, there are a lot of, for years we've all talked about a shift, a great shift. Indigenous tribes talk about it. We talk about it from an outer space perspective. You know, the galactics talk about it. I mean, so what if this is actually part of that shift? What if this is part of that next evolutionary, as you were saying before, leap? And you can either choose not to, and you know, I know that domestic abuse is way up because people are home, and so you can either choose to go that route and you know, get dirtier and down, and or you can choose to elevate. I don't know.
Well, it's very good. And what we're finding is the virus is actually helping us make more conscious choices.
Mm-hmm.
And isn't that great? Taking things out of the subconscious where we're not paying attention and turning it into conscious decisions. Isn't that a wonderful stimulation to actually have, to notice on a moment by moment basis? Are you taking that going down decision, or are you taking that going up decision? To actually have a scenario where you get to do this. Mm-hmm. So this virus is in fact very helpful in so many ways.
Right. I agree. I agree. So I you know, I wonder how long we will be in this state, and how do you see us coming out of it as a collective?
The very brutal way of looking at this one, I won't talk about it later, but the very brutal way of everyone gets exposed to this virus. There isn't really a solution to it. In countries around like England and the United States, the decision seemed to be, well, let it run riot, and then you have a whole wave of deaths in one go. And in some other countries, such as China, or even more like South Korea, they took an attitude, really, really slow it down so hardly anyone catches it. Mm-hmm. But you then end up in a situation that lots of people are still vulnerable to it. And if we go back to this antibodies thing, when you've been exposed to it, once you're a survivor of that strain of a virus, you don't catch it the second time. You can catch other virus strains, but you've got permanent immunity to that particular strain of virus. Mm. And it's going to be out there in the environment for the next year or two quite easily. So at some point, you're going to come across it. And it's really a question about, do you want to come across it in a big mass, or do you want to do it over a more stretched out period of time? And you'll either be a survivor who's got immunity, or you'll have left as well, gone up to the heavens, and be looking at the next reincarnation to come back down again. That's pretty much the way it's going to work.
I mean, that's fair enough. I mean, so it's the slow drip, but a lot of people say that the reason they wanted to slow it down is so that our our doctors, our facilities could catch up to it and help people get through it. So I kind of get that too, but it just, again, I just scratch my head and I keep thinking, I don't understand this. I mean, I just don't understand the impact. I mean, this is an enormous impact. I mean, and how many zombie apocalyptic shows are out there? I was telling Charles just today, it's like people love the fear. We love the next pandemic, the apocalypse. We love there's a hurricane. I mean, for some people, they wait their whole lives to do this, to be able to share what they know. And that is what I try to stay out of, is that, I mean, Charles was telling me this morning, there's a tiger that just came down with it. And it's like, really, honey? I mean, it's like people are just scanning, wanting to know. And I think it's like that gossip. It's that gossip vibe, just to be, I don't know. So
To be fair, we have chosen to come into a world that pretty much endemic zombie apocalypse on a smaller scale. That's where we come to live it out, because we could have chosen to have another life on a more advanced, developed world where everything ran very smoothly, but clearly you must have got bored with that and thought that the Earth, always on the edge of some sort of zombie apocalypse, it feels like it's a more interesting place. So we've chosen to hang out here. What you're saying, having got here, you're saying, you don't have to do the whole hog of it. You can do a more intelligent version of this and show your higher awareness and show your higher capabilities in amongst very powerful temptation. So I congratulate you on making that choice.
Well, and I think that I actually was just getting ready to say that it is, what if this is the ultimate, not ultimate, because once you say that, there will be another one. But what if this is one of those opportunities where you say, hey, woohoo, let's do it this way. You know what? You have access to this over here. And what if we understand it from a different perspective? And what if this empowers us? I mean, that's what we've talked about all along. But what if this is the ultimate in, are you a victim or is this a tool? I mean, to me, that is a pretty clear line.
So let's go for it. What you're talking about here is expressing a bit of free will, actually making a choice between two possibilities. Because you'll notice from the heavens, there's an energy that comes down to us to keep us alive. It's a very sort of bright-looking energy. It keeps us here. It looks much brighter in small children because they recently wanted to come here. And when you get really old and wrinkly and near the end of your life, that energy to keep you here gets really, really weak. And then it doesn't take much for you to leave altogether.
Yeah.
And that energy, nevertheless, comes down in a kind of unconditional way. It's giving the opportunity to be here. So you could be a totally healthy person, but decide to kill your body.
And you decide to...
We are here in a situation where we can choose a few little things. We don't have a lot of free will most of the time. Most of the time we're just operating on automatic, not really paying attention. But that unconditional love, which keeps us functional on this earth, does give us the occasional bit of choice. And what you're talking about here is making a bit of choice about which way you want to go. What do you want to do with the situation you're in? It's like you can't change a pandemic happening all around you, but you can choose how you're going to respond to it, and you can choose what state of health you're going to be in as that pandemic rages all around you. And I notice with you, as we're talking about this, you're doing the empowered energy thing again and making your aura glow. And if you even were to breathe that in just a little bit more, you get even better effect on the whole thing. What does it feel like just to breathe a bit better as you're realizing that empowerment is being offered to you?
Oh, it feels great. It feels, it is not lost on me that this virus loves to attack the lungs. So breathing it in feels even better.
Being the virus one likes to tag along.
Yeah, the virus, it likes to hit the lungs, and so anyway, so that was just a sort of a joke, a play on words. But I think that it is. So I've been met with some kickback because people are getting upset with me because I'm not buying into it, and I keep saying this doesn't make sense. I'm not sure. Why are you watching the news? Oh my gosh! I mean, really, people that I love, that I'm close to, are frustrated with me, and I was actually talking with my mom, and she's bright and she's lovely and she's a nurse, and she's older. She's in that age where they need to be careful. One day I got really angry about it. And she said, "Why are you so mad?" I said, "It's because I feel that the news is jacking this up." And she's like, "It's conspiracy." I said, "You're doing this conspiracy thing." And I said, "No, that's not it." I said, I don't know why I'm mad. I mean, I'm keeping the kids at home. I'm doing everything. I'm not, running out and doing, playing and having people over. I said, and I realize now it is it was my way of rejecting the fear. It was my way of saying, this is out of balance. I don't know.
It's also, let's talk about energetically what you're saying. There's what we call group energies in this world. Sometimes there's a big group energy flows through a world. Occasionally nations want to go to war. For example, in Europe, before the start of World War One, people were quite in favor of war. And when it was finally announced, people walked down the streets of countries like France, England, Germany, would all be in the war, and people going, "Isn't this wonderful? We're going to war now." They had an enthusiasm. There was a group energy for doing it.
Wow.
So it's quite infectious. If you go to a pop concert, you'll feel the group energy of the pop concert, and it flows through you, and that's why a pop concert often feels a lot more fun than listening to the CD or the music download afterwards, because the group energy may not be conveyed in that CD or music download. Likewise with the virus, there's a big energy of get sick, but isn't it exciting? Who's going to get sick? Who won't? Come on, isn't it exciting? Isn't it fun? You can almost watch the school results coming out. And it's kind of fun for people, and that's why they're enjoying doing it.
Mm-hmm.
What you're saying is, I don't want to do that group energy. That is not me.
Right.
You want to go another way, and that's why you're choosing not to share in it.
Thank you for that.
Putting a nice feel to this whole thing.
Well, thank you for that, because I haven't, Tiffany and I both talked about it, and I did want to jump on and say something, but I didn't know what to say. I mean, I just don't know what to say. And so thank you for giving me this opportunity to discuss all of this,
Yeah. I also talk about a slightly different group energy, but it's a fun one. I sometimes listen to radio recordings in England, and there was a radio recording show where they had comedians making jokes about current politics and goings on in the world and celebrities. And they used to do this in front of a live audience in a nice little auditorium or hall. But as the virus got started, they were having to do the same thing from their bedrooms without the audience. And it's not nearly the same show from their bedrooms without the audience.
That's true. John Oliver, he has done some shows, and he's by himself. Yeah, isn't that funny? But you're right. That's that group energy. As you say, it creates one massive energy, like an entity. That's cool. That's cool.
There is a fun group energy we can put into this, and that's one of, I'm bored with this virus, carry on. Yes, I know how to align better, and I'm going to do it.
I'm bored with this. So what do you think would happen if enough of us do it? It would just sort of dissipate, right?
Yeah, it'll help melt it away. And just for the people who are watching this recording, I want to be clear on one point. I want to talk about energy and flows. It is not something you imagine. you could imagine it if you wanted to, but it's not going to do anything useful. Your body can sense energy flows, and merely by practicing sensing them, you become attuned to the energy of them. You know what they feel like. And when we're talking about flowing these energy flows and being able to see them, this is something that's quite tangible once you practiced it. And I wanted the distinction between doing that and just having a mental decision of, I'm not going to get this virus, I'm not going to do it, that's my decision because my human ego says I'm not going to do it. And if you get locked into that one, you have quite a good chance of being struck sick because you're kidding yourself. You've actually got to feel that energetic alignment. It's like watching the way a compass works. A compass will point north. Whatever way you actually move the body of the compass, that little needle goes north. And if you can sense that energetic flow and connect into it, that's when you know you're doing it. This is not a mental thing of an imagined position.
Right.
It's an actual alignment. And what does it feel like when you're doing that and remembering to breathe?
You're asking me? Well, that's always my thing. I have to remember to breathe. Well, you feel, this is a weird word, but you feel pure. I feel pure. It feels very clean.
Yes.
Not muddied.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And the joke is, we'll do this for a few minutes, then we get a little bit bored. And it's like we want a little bit of drama,
Right.
but maybe not all the drama.
Well, but hasn't that been the thing? We're going to throw on top of the drama of being sick and not having enough ventilators and people dying. On top of that, now we have a potential devastating economic flashback. And, you know, it's like, oh, Lord, if they're not getting you on this end, they're getting you on that end. And yeah. See, and I can feel it go.
Yeah. I have to say, it's a rather strange thing that I work online with quite a lot of people because they're really spread out around the place. And nearly everyone I know who wants to work and act in a creative way has found that they've got busier than before.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been doing things perhaps by an online way, but they've actually got busier. Whereas the people who were bored with their jobs and didn't want to work, a lot of them went into lockdown before they were even told to. They'd shut the doors of their houses, barricaded themselves inside, and they really didn't need much persuasion to get there. So there's like a real parting between the people who were just bored of life and wanted to switch it off and the ones who wanted to keep going. And now they've got busier than ever, the ones who wanted to keep going. So you're actually seeing a split up between the two. So when you're asking about what's going to happen to the economics of this one, I think once we're all moving again, we're going to see some organizations really prospering and other ones just dying away and going into bankruptcy. It's like a sort of choice where you're taking one door or another door.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just down to what people are energized to do.
Oh, that's interesting. That's really true. So, okay, I'm not sure how to ask this. Have you received the perspective of this timeline and this time frame from the future?
Had I been told about this one? No, I hadn't been told that this was about to come crashing down on us. But then, at the same time, I wasn't really sort of looking out for one at that moment. There was more an attitude of we're going through this adventure and whatever comes along, comes along. So I wasn't sort of panicking, watching for it. I used to be more in the mindset of doing that in the past, and it has to be said, I sometimes see parallel versions of David, because there's more than one of all of us. There are many parallels in this decision, what happened in that decision. And for example, during the last week, I was having a chat with a parallel version of David that did live through a nuclear holocaust in the 1980s, and he's still alive and going. He has fewer teeth than this current version of David you're chatting to here. It is because there's poorer dental care there. In fact, it doesn't even have electricity. You know, I'd say things went backwards a bit for a lot of people in that era.
Wow.
So there was this parallel world of nuclear war we didn't have in our reality in the 1980s in that example. And he, long enough, I'm still alive, so he was a survivor, and I'm still a survivor on this one. So there are these splits. Was I warned about this one? No. But was I particularly bothered about whether or not things would happen? Neither that. There's more an attitude of we're in an adventure. I don't mind if the story takes a few unexpected twists, because it probably makes it more interesting. It probably makes it more fun.
Yeah. No, I think it does too. It's an adventure. You're right. It's a roller coaster, and we just sort of dippity-doo and we hit the highs. But you know, I've had, let's make sure we're still on. Okay. I have had a, I wasn't sure if I wanted to talk about this. It is, I keep hearing, remember who you are. It's time. Remember. I'm like, okay, I don't know what that is, but it is. Anyway, we may save that for a different time, but it's interesting to see what's coming up. And I've talked to people, and everybody says, not everybody, but people say the same thing. Dreams are crazy. Like their dreams are vivid and intense. And so I think that's interesting too.
Well, just a lovely point you're saying, remember who you are. Well, from my perspective, we don't really have much personality, so we turn out to be a rather energetic, but in that respect, a little bit dull. But nevertheless, there we are. These energetic beings that have much personality, so we're choosing to adopt, in this case, human personality, and what human traits do we want to live with.
Mm-hmm.
And what you're talking about here is not so much what are you, but what are you choosing to be? And isn't that fun? Isn't that so much of an empowering system you're talking about, of what are you choosing you want to be in the moment? And I notice, once again, as soon as we're talking about choosing, you're making that choice more. Every time you're remembering that you are choosing, you're doing it in a beautiful way. And again, for people who be watching at home, this makes the Kerry aura go really bright. She looks a bit like a sort of star character, you know, like sort of stars, this sort of spiky shapes going out. Lots of colours of sort of golden, silver, and sort of mediumistic purple. It's rather like Kerry's body is standing in front of a portal, and you can see all this energy spilling out just behind her into this world she's in, because she's realizing that energy of possibility and all the things she can be in this world and do. So it makes a really nice energetic flow, which is a wonderful contrast to many of the people I see on the street outside who are in a sort of grey fog, where they've gone down, they've got all this nice stuff, they've twisted it into a sort of dull, boring soup, where when someone says go into lockdown for the next month, they go, yippee, I can go and hide away in my own grey cave with all of this.
My great cave. Well, thank you. And I wish that I could see what you see. I mean, it is, I wish I could see what you see with other people, and still you do it so effortlessly. It's fun. It's fun to just hear your perspective.
When you're saying you wish you could do it, could you stop saying it that way? Because you're blocking yourself. If you just check, you'll find you clenched your breathing.
I did.
We're both operating in human bodies, and if I could be taught how to do it, there's no reason why other intelligent human bodies can't be taught how to do it as well.
I don't think you were taught to do it.
Yeah. Well, felt like I was getting lessons. Let's say I got a lot of reminders.
Okay, that I'll buy. Well, no, my thing was, all of a sudden I look up and I'm turning 49 in a couple of weeks, and I thought, oh my God, I'm getting too old. I'm getting too old to do new things. And it was like what are you doing? No, not if you live to be 110. You're just getting started. So it's so yeah, so that's been a little bit of the redefining, is sort of that, society says that you're supposed to start weaning and leaning and getting smaller. I don't want it. I want to go screaming into the night, not wither off the branch and, fade.
Well, isn't that a lot more fun?
Yes.
And
Yes.
if we keep going round in a bright way, the chances are we just go quite suddenly.
Yeah.
Or, maybe up for a few days. But we wouldn't want to do it over a number of years.
Mm-mm.
That would be quite painful.
No, I agree. I completely agree.
Well, it can happen very fast. And people often find they're the ones who've recovered. They've been in the middle of coronavirus symptoms, which can make you really miserable, but they've decided they were going to come out of it, and they started connecting into the things that enable them to do it. For example, one guy who wrote about it, he was living in China, so he's one of the early ones, and he was locked up in his home with the rest of his family, who he managed to infect during the course of this whole thing, but they got it less badly than him. And he said somewhere towards what you'd call a decision point in this, he decided he was going to come out of it. The only way to do it was to be less depressed. So he started watching lots of comedy things that were online, like movies and funny shows. And around the time of watching a lot of comedy and stuff, he seemed to turn the corner and came out of it. So it demonstrated that he was making that choice. He got to the edge where he could live or die, decided he was going to live, and he connected to that fun playfulness.
Oh, I love that story. I've actually heard of a fella, actually, I know him, and he had cancer, and he did the same thing. He just bombarded, and he just laughed. His thing was, I just want to laugh. I don't want to get depressed. And I'm sure it begins with that idea that, do I want to cry or do I want to laugh? Well, I don't want to cry. So I want to make myself laugh. And same thing. He decided to stay, and that was, 20 years ago or 15 years ago. So I see, and that's, but we're learning these things, and we're getting it up front. We're getting it in our face that we can choose, and being in alignment, not being in fear, turning off the news, disengaging from the herd mentality. It really does give it back to you. It gives that choice back to you. That's it right there.
And this is it. And we're in a situation where these choices are being brought more to our attention. So instead of going around half asleep, we're choosing what we're going to do with things.
Yep. Right.
And I just want to go back to the subject of grayness for a moment, a little sort of story. When I was a kid growing up, we lived in what started off as a large one-bedroom flat in the centre of London, just down the road from Buckingham Palace. What I mean by just down the road is if you walked about 50 yards to the right-hand side of our front door, that was the boundary wall of Buckingham Palace.
Wow.
Now, admittedly, it was a very high wall with lots of spikes along the top, so you never got to see the Queen by looking down in that direction. But we were that far away from Buckingham Palace. My dad wanted to be in that sort of what they call posh end of London. So you're in the posh end of London, so you don't get a lot of space because it's all quite expensive. And he got married, had his wife in the one-bedroom flat, and then had me. I slept in what was basically a little annex off a corridor, and then he had some more children, and he had to turn his sitting room into half a bedroom and half a sitting room, and what was his bedroom then became my brother's bedroom. So there we were in this flat, and it was a nice life, we were okay, but my brothers had their little evil streak to them, and it took the form at an early stage of interfering with my plasticine. An early childhood trauma, quite clearly, that I can recall it now. And my mom would give me strips of plasticine and the colours of the rainbow, like sort of pink and reds and blues and greens and yellows, and it was beautiful stuff. And I was crap at hiding things. I just couldn't hide stuff properly. That was the thing. And my brothers would find this whilst I was out at whatever early school I was going to. And they would do to the plasticine what they'd seen in playgroup. And in playgroup, the plasticine there was all the colours mushed up together, perhaps with little bits of fluff and body hair stuck into it, mushed into a sort of grey, depressing porridge. And that's what the kids had to play with. So they'd come and find my colourful rainbow, and they would squash that into depressing grey and then stick it to the side of the bed I slept in to kind of demonstrate what had happened to my plasticine. You might say, what we're doing here is just saying, well, we've ended up in the grey. Can we get back into those rainbow colours again? Can we snap out of it? Because my brothers, when I asked them, why did you do that to the plasticine? Their answer was, well, that's the way it is at their nursery. So they're going to turn all plasticine into horrible grey things you just didn't even want to touch.
I love that visual. But I have to ask, plasticine, what is that? Like Play-Doh?
Like Play-Doh, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Plasticine.
So it's like plasticine. It's like that. It's like sort of stuff, and that's what the kids used to play with. I go feel how we can have our auras in a sort of grey mix, or we can choose to keep the colours in slightly separate forms so that we can play with the energies individually and use them to bounce one to the other, but not have to get it all in just a big soup that overwhelms us. And that's again back to the group energy we're in. Can we choose to play with these energies in a fun way as opposed to just get caught up in a sort of big grey porridge that crushes you down?
Well, there are two things to that. I think that I know that I feel myself getting pulled back in sometimes, and I feel myself like so very early on. I spoke with someone that I give a tremendous amount of credit to, and he does know things, and he does whatever. So I don't want to give away who he is, but it is so he scared the ever living daylights out of me. I went back to this place that sells a lot of tools, and they sell everything. And I was there 2 times in one day, and I had a pallet full of light bulbs, detergents, I mean, you name it. And Charles, I brought it home, and he looked at me and he's like, really, honey, you have like 6 things of laundry detergent. Because this person, he had convinced me that all of these stores were going to close, and what are you going to do once your light bulbs go out, and what are you going to do when you can't wash your, brush your teeth? Or so the next day I took all the stuff back, and I had it on this huge dolly thing, and I just looked at the girl and I just said, I'm sorry, I got scared. And she laughed and she took it all back. But I did. I mean, I did kind of succumb to that, but I do feel myself going back into the gray. And I think, oh, am I being airy fairy with, unicorns standing behind me? And then, it's like, no. And sometimes I have to say that trying to pick the lighter side of things and trying to get in alignment doesn't feel as good. It feels like a lot of work, and it's easy to just succumb and say, give me the gossip, give me the dark stuff, because that's where I'm at. And then, and so I think in my mind, it's like, don't resist it, just go into it, recognize it, and let yourself naturally flow back out of it. Maybe.
Yeah. So the thing is, what you're saying, you're choosing to go through the adventure. You're not like one of these people who's sort of given up and just switched off, and they're going through the motions of living until they can hit retirement and die. And you're not at the other extreme of someone saying, oh, I hate all those bad emotions, I don't like bad emotions, I'm going to hide away in some perfect world and maybe live in a little commune where everyone's just nice to each other all day, and we have lentil soup and don't kill any meat or do anything like that.
Or gassy.
What you're saying,
Sorry.
maybe that's how they manage to light their places. They sort of harvest the gas and use it as little fittings on the ceiling. that we are doing all of these things, and you're choosing to play in this. So let's also remind people how it works, because once I talk about all these energies, I do want to reiterate, at the earthly level, I needed lessons in how to do it, and a lot of spirit beings taught me how to do these exercises, and I could share their teachings with the people around me. And the important thing was to be able to breathe properly, and breathe using your diaphragm. So if I just stand up, it's using the diaphragm here, where you breathe down to get the air in, push your diaphragm up to get the air out, diaphragm up, air in, diaphragm down.
Mm-hmm.
And most people, when they try that at first, they're probably breathing kind of backwards because they're doing it all from their chest. But as you do practice it, you can breathe using your diaphragm. And when you start to breathe using your diaphragm, it helps you feel the living energy of the air. You know, most people would have read the idea that the air was one of the elemental forms, and there it is, one of the elemental spirit forms that you can breathe in and interact with, and it nourishes you. And as you breathe it in and flow it in down towards your toes, not only is the air nourishing you, but you are nourishing nature by exhaling some of that carbon dioxide that trees and plants rely on. And they have a tough time, just remember this. We have in our atmosphere 21% oxygen, so we do pretty well. It's not so easy for the poor trees outside. Despite what you hear about global warming, carbon dioxide is not like 50% of the atmosphere, which they have you thinking we're all going to roast from it. It's not like 10% of the atmosphere. In fact, the nearest decimal point is not even 0% of the atmosphere. Most of the atmosphere is nitrogen gas, 78% of it. Oxygen is running about 21%. There are a few other gases which make the last 1% of the atmosphere, and of that, most of it's something called argon. Mm-hmm. And you've got to really scrape down to the bottom. And carbon dioxide is 0.04% of the atmosphere. That's all it is. That is a tiny amount. And all the trees, like the leaves on them, are all grown out of carbon dioxide. When you see a tree or the grass or any other plant coming out of the ground, it is using carbon dioxide. So whilst we've got 21% carbon dioxide, 21% oxygen to breathe in, trees and plants, they're relying on that 0.04% of carbon dioxide in the air, and they have to pull it out. They need sunlight to help turn it into the cellulose that builds their body, and they're pulling it out. So remember, by you breathing better and putting more carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, you are feeding nature around you, because they've only got a tiny little bit of carbon dioxide to feed off. They're really hungry.
Do your part. Do your part.
Yeah. So just feel that. And feel how that living air is nourishing you with that plentiful 21% oxygen. And can you feel how when you're doing that, it's putting an extra happiness into your breathing, because you're connecting into this living energy system? What does it feel like as you do it?
For me, it feels smooth and easy. It's like it eases things. It's like a wheel or an axle going round and round, and then it gets kind of, and then it's like you grease it, so it moves fluid. I know that my son and I, we swam. We've been swimming every day, and we try to go across the pool and see how far we can go with one breath. And we'll sit and we'll breathe deep and as much as we can before we feel like we're going to pass out, and then we swim. And it's amazing. You can get down there and back. You can do twice as, because you just oxygenate the blood.
And let's look at our little virus thing, because we're doing a virus special in our own way today. The virus, you're breathing. That's how it gets you in the air. It discourages you from breathing.
you know, even after the work I've done with you, I notice that when I get upset, I hold my breath. I mean, why do we do that? It's like we completely constrict. Why do we hold our breath? Why is that the human default?
It's because we have a truth system in our body. You're talking about the guy who wrote down 2020 as a good year for a pandemic starting around the Wuhan district.
Mm-hmm.
He would have felt there was something right then. And there's a feeling of like true or false, right and wrong in this way. It's not a moral right and wrong, it's just a sort of factual thing.
Mm-hmm.
And down here in our solar plexus is our truth detector. And our truth detector is constantly telling you whether something is right or wrong. And now here comes the weird bit. For you to have an adventure here in this world, it's important that some people wind you up and annoy you and do stupid stuff. And at some level, you'll have asked them to do that.
Right, right.
So if you're sitting in a corner thinking, I didn't ask you to do that, you never did. I'd have never asked you to do that. It's wrong, they should have done that. What's your truth detector going to be telling you about whether you're talking the truth or bullshit to yourself in that moment? What's your truth detector going to say?
It's going to tell you you're talking bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah. So the truth detector, that solar plexus, all the muscles clench up, and you literally find yourself hunkering down into a ball that's difficult to straighten up from because your mind is caught up in this thought form of bullshit and you keep repeating it to yourself. You'll find that's the process. Sit in the corner, repeat it to yourself. Get on the phone, you'll repeat it to someone else. That's the way it goes. And as long as you're repeating that to yourself, it hunkers you over and that stops you breathing properly. And that's also, again, part of the virus trick. It tells you, oh, you don't want a virus. No, you don't want to have me around. You never wanted this. And when you start thinking that, it restricts your breathing and messes up your energy flows, and then you become more vulnerable to that virus.
Mm-hmm.
So the virus essentially feeds you a bit of a lie, or thinking various thoughts and upset emotions. You're feeding yourself a lie.
So can we go in and talk to it? The virus?
Well, why don't we try that right now on air?
Okay.
All you need to do is remember you probably can. Because how these things work is they can drop thoughts into our heads, and all we have to do is literally just say hello to them, and they pick up around me. And where it's fun to it's quite amusing. When I'm looking at Kerry energetically right now, Kerry's like a sort of nice orb of light. If it was a sci-fi film, she'd be like in a little sort of egg of light that aliens would have dropped down from another world. And inside, a sort of bright being would be about to step forth from it. So for Kerry to detect what's outside of that beautiful air, all you have to do is pick up some of the characters around you in this world and don't go to them, but realizes between you and them is the little virus energy just sort of hanging around in the space between you and bright state, some other people a bit clogged up. That's where you're likely to find it.
Okay.
And also a little trick to remember is virus is actually quite a simple thing. So if you just send out a little bit of a sort of hello virus thought, see what comes back to you.
I can tell you what I instantly got.
Go on.
Playful.
Go on.
I got a playful, like a, hey. Yeah.
Does it like it when you say hello? What's its reaction when you say hello to it warmly?
Almost a surprise and a childlike hello. Hey there.
And can you see how close it was? You didn't have to go far to find it.
No, it's close.
And here's a question. Does it like helping you connect to the heavenly light, the source light? Does it like helping you do that?
Yes.
Ask it.
Yes.
What does it think if you've messed it up and your body died, what would it think then? What would its reaction be?
Sad. It's not its intent.
So this is a really weird thing that people would not have thought. They think the virus is out there to murder them. But actually, it's being playful. Like I said to my wife, you know, I'm going to get you. It was having fun with her. It was playing a game of I'm going to get you, like
Almost like hide and seek.
tags.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it actually wants you to make that heavenly connect.
Well, it's interesting because what I immediately heard is, I'm not going to bother you. And it's misunderstood. I mean, that sounds really bizarre.
Yes. So there we go. We started our talk today. We're talking about these things as living spirit things, and we worked our way around through a lot of the sort of the biology of how they work, the chemistry of how they work. And as we came back around more of an understanding of what was happening, when our minds kind of knew what they were dealing with, it became possible to see it. It's a bit like looking at a page of writing, but in a foreign language. We had to learn the language it was written in, like Egyptian hieroglyphs. You know, like you see little pictures of people walking along on water symbols, stuff like that. But actually, there's a language to it. And when we were able to understand the language, we found we could start to say hello to the virus spirit and see what it was up to.
Oh, that's fascinating. Thank you for this.
Just go one further. If you go looking up, just ask it to sort of point towards where it was created from. And see what impressions you get, because it'll happily show you. What's that like as you get an impression of where it was created, where did it come from?
Well, I see a lab.
Yeah.
I see a little round petri dish, like a plastic petri dish.
And for the various conspiracy theorists out there, this is not a lab on this dimension.
No.
Just to be about that one.
Okay, so where I'm going now is I'm it's the chicken or the egg. So we were seated with this idea because it is an idea of change, and this is an organic versus, you know, technology is so strong, and that this is, if anything, it's brought us back to an organic relationship based. I mean, good or bad, who's to say? There is no such thing as good and bad. We place that meaning on it, and that it is it's almost like what I see as a log cabin. It's almost like taking it back to what's important, which are the relationships, and redefining consciously how we're going to do things and how we do things. But there is a
go back to the lab sort of thing.
okay.
What you're looking at is almost like an idea in a petri dish. What if we chuck this into the earth?
You're saying that's what, like, what if we, this idea to the earth?
It's like, here's a little idea. What would happen if we chucked it in?
Yes, but we sort of asked for it. In some way, we've asked for it. We've asked for something. It's almost like we're going so fast, it slows us way down. Yeah. It's a redirect for a lot of folks. And for some people, it's their way home.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I sort of feel how beautifully energetically you need to align in order to do that. So you were automatically lining up in order to see that and see this at multiple levels, from a higher level, bringing it down to a low level. A good reminder of how we're taught to do these things. We're given little exercises, then we practice them and get quite good at them.
Oh, it's fun. It is fun. But you know, it's also like an ant bed. It's like sticking your finger in an ant bed, you know? That's just interesting.
It's quite well. And for anyone wondering what's happening when they're watching this, for a moment, Kerry was staring at the light and seeing what else she could get out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see. I can, like, you can see it. Can you see it when I see it?
Well, yeah, we're watching what you're up to.
Yeah, it's just fascinating.
You were also trying to work out who or what might be there, but you see, with our human minds, we're often thinking about it in terms of other humans, but maybe it wasn't quite another sort of human in the regular sense. It was some other sort of life form.
It is, but it's benevolent. It's not, but it's not bad. They're not. It's not like somebody bad doing things.
Yeah.
But also what we choose to do with it and how we use it. And there are people using it for different things, but it's also, it opens a door for a new energetic possibility.
Yes. So let's also pick up on what we were saying at the beginning of today's work. We're talking about the possibility that the virus may not be like this sort of bad, malevolent thing, and you've got to run away from it. Also, at the same time, you don't necessarily have to embrace it. You were demonstrating you had that little virus energy outside of you, and that's where you were happy for it to stay. Mm-hmm. You could choose your relationship with it. You could choose how close you're going to get to it. You're going to encounter it in some form, but you can choose what sort of distance you want to end up with. So these choices were happening. And once you were seeing it as just something else that was out there that was actually a little bit playful, you might say it's a bit like playing with a frisky kitten. If you put your hand too close to the kitten, you will pick up a couple of scratches and it'll bite on your finger. Yeah. At the same time, if you don't play with it too much, it'll find someone else to play with.
Right. Right.
So there was this virus entity that's helping us make choices. It's helping us be more conscious about the choices we're making, help us be conscious of our energy state. Because if you're feeling a little bit sick, you will find your energy is out of line. It's like, well, your energy was always in the alignment it was, but you're like going out of line from it. Mm-hmm. From your own perspective, it'll feel like the energy's gone out of line, and you, where you were, because you're upright on Earth, in the earthly illusion. And because gravity says you're this way up, therefore you must be this way up, and it's the energy that went out of line. But never mind which it was, just realize from if you do come back into alignment together and synchronize with it and breathe properly, you'll be able to feel those symptoms of colds and flus just melt away, and you'll come into a happier state. So breathe as you do this. Breathe and work with that living air organism and put a bit more carbon dioxide into the atmosphere and give nature a chance.
Give nature a chance. And you can do this with any virus too.
So what more do we need to do today?
I think we've covered a lot of ground. So can you give very practical steps on, I know we've talked about it from many different angles, but can you give very, like a guideline for people to try to get into alignment and maybe an idea of how to frame all of this, just kind of sum it all up?
Well, let's sum it up here. We're talking here about energetic alignment, and there are many ways of doing it. We're reminding you, saying when your body's in an energetic alignment, that gives you a healthy, happy feeling. Mm-hmm. If you're trying to connect into it, don't grab for it. Realize that you were probably entertaining things like the little virus inside you, and that was knocking you out. So if you're like sitting, looking at a beautiful landscape, or nice plants, or flowers, or trees, things like that, a beautiful lake, and you do a bit less thinking, you'll find you naturally come into alignment. that's your natural state of being. That is your default setting. And you can breathe that through. And as you do it nicely, you'll find yourself wanting to smile. If you're not smiling, you're not doing it very well. And just keep relaxing into it and let it come to you. Let it just arrive and come to you. And that will bring you into that peaceful state. That's incidentally why they're saying when someone dies, they're at peace, because they leave all the jumble of this world and they go up into that higher aligned state of the heavens. And yes, they will be at peace. We're just saying it might be nice to do this whilst you're actively alive at the same time. You know, you don't have to wait until you're dead.
That's right, but it's possible. You have to know that that's possible.
Yes, and that's the good was wonderful work you're doing today, Kerry, which is to help inform people and remind them that it is possible. And not only can they do it now, but there's a playful little virus out there that's reminding you to do it. But if you get caught up in the game of all the negative emotions and all the fear, you'll be afraid of it. And then that virus really can give you quite a turn and can knock you about and convince you not to breathe properly to the point at which you physically die. So realize it's actually having a little bit of a game with you. And as we discovered, it wanted you to learn the trick. It wanted you to make the connection. That's what its intention was, to give you a little bit of a game where you have a hard time until you learn something very new and very positive. And just feel that energetic connect, just being a reminder of it. What does it feel like, so you can describe it to other people so they know what this feels like as they're doing it?
It feels to me like I'm watching things. I'm not a part of it. I am just witnessing things. But now I feel like I don't see it as bad. I mean, I don't see it as necessarily, I don't see it as bad. I'm not going to say the rest of that. I just don't. And I feel like it's sort of like getting the cheat on it and saying, oh, okay. And I feel calm and I feel at peace with it. And I feel like I've said hello. So it's no longer a mystery and it's not happening to me. It's happening around. And I believe that as I truly get this and more people get this, it will just melt away.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And so be consciously distracted. Go find something that makes you feel calm and peaceful, hopefully not a chemical, but find a place, paint, draw, watch something that makes you laugh. And I love that. I think that is a great example, is watch something that makes you laugh. And that might kick off this upward spiral, you know?
I would say connect to something energetically that'll make you laugh, but you don't need to force yourself to do it with alcohol or chemicals.
Right.
Because all the alcohol and chemicals do is they stop your brain working properly. They reduce the ability of your brain to function normally. And when it stops functioning, then if you're connecting into a lot of miserable emotions, it stops amplifying them. That's what happens. If you're connecting into miserable emotions, miserable energies, and your brain was amplifying them, then if you poison it with substances or alcohol, your brain stops functioning, and then you can come into a happier state. But wouldn't it be better just to change the programming on your brain and stop having it doing the poisoning routine and having it doing the self-awareness and energetically flowing routine? And then you can get these nice energies without needing any substances. You know, perhaps lubricated by a bit of water. There's plenty of that around, and it'll really help you do it.
That's a great point. That's a wonderful point. And I do have to say, in full disclosure, I have been playing. I mean, I do drink about 4 ounces of wine. And I mean, that's all I really drink. And I look forward to it, but I have this ongoing conversation which is, I know that I'm a cheap date. I mean, it is, I'm not someone that can drink half a bottle of wine. I can't. I mean, just that much. But I don't want to do that anymore. So, and I keep hearing you, like, I love your book, and in it you talk about they're talking to you. You've got the folks that talk to you, and they're saying, just while you cook, enjoy a little bit of wine. and but it's not. I don't know. I don't.
Well, I too used to consume alcohol. I lived in Ireland, in a country where drinking and driving was a social necessity because there weren't enough taxis to get you home at night. that was what it was back then. But since then I got into this work, found other ways of feeling happier. And now if I do touch alcohol, it just makes me feel less well. I notice that it's poisoning me, so the attraction of it is gone. It's like just moved beyond it. Found other ways to get that right connect without using a substance or a toxin.
Yeah, no, it is a toxin. And that's the funny thing is I don't do it to feel better. I don't do it to feel worse. It's habit. It's just habit.
And the spirit saying to you to do it
Mm-hmm.
in that little frequency of the spirits that do addiction stuff, and that you can often see them by wavelength. They've got a particular color to them. I don't want to tell people too much about what they look like because people might see it slightly different to me, so I don't want to lock them into a particular answer on this one.
Okay.
But yes, they're out there and you can learn to see their frequency, their wavelength, and you get to know how they work.
Oh, that's fascinating. Well, I would love to do a show on that at some point because I think there are a lot of things that could apply to, whether it's, TV, internet, alcohol, pot, whatever. But, well, David, thank you for your time. Now, are you at home or you're at the office?
I am at the office, and I'll just swing around the screen. For people who thought I was in front of a waterfall, this is what my office looks like. Out of the window.
Very nice.
And there's a few apartment blocks, but in the financial district of London. That's where I am at the moment. So I've walked all alone down to my office, doing a sort of, I believe you're allowed to walk still on lockdown, so I get my exercise. I walk down to my office, sit in a room and then connect with other people. And then shortly about to go back, and I can hear telepathically my wife calling on the other end, going, David, I want you to call me. And she knows not to message me right now because she realizes I'm on the call with Kerry, so she's not going to do that.
Well, I should honor that and let you go so you can get home. But thank you so much. I think that I will run the whole show, and then I think I may take some pieces out of it and then refer back because I think there's a lot of great information here.
Yeah, you could make 2 shows out of it.
Mm-hmm. I think so. But the way it all ties in such a great way, I would like to put it all up if someone is just, people are looking for things to do. So this is a good thing, okay. Hopefully. Well, guys, well, bye. And people can reach you. Tell them how they can reach you.
Yeah. Okay. Shouldn't we? There's the trouble. I just said to when you're in a very aligned energy, forget about money and forget about commercialism, and I just assume you'll find me somehow on the internet, and then forget that there might be the practicality of like knowing the phone number or an email address or some point of contact. And the reality of that one is, if you look up a website called greatsimulator.com, GreatSimulator.com, you'll find my good self, as you'll find some pictures of me looking even slightly younger, which is always good because I try to be a young, sprightly character. And if you look in there, you're going to find some books, and you're going to find some recordings of exercises that you can do, and it's a great place to go and visit. And if you want to email me or get in contact with me, you can do it from there very easily. So please give that a go, and I look forward to interacting with you in person, because now we can talk to people and video call with them anywhere in the world. So all we have to do is figure out the time zone, and we're off, and we can have some fun together. So,
and it is fun.
Yeah.
It's fun playing with you. So, and I'll also drop in all of your info. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you again. And we will, I'm sure, talk to you shortly.
Okay.
So
See you soon.